What is going on? Welcome back to another of my videos. Today, bring you guys the best KG tier list in Shindo Life. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, like out for more. Also, remember to leave a like on this video, guys. There will probably be a lot of salty people that they just don't agree with my opinion, so a like will help out a lot more than you think. Anyways, guys, get right to the video. Alright, so we'll be starting off with normal Akuma. Normal Akuma is actually going into the really good tier. Now, this is most likely going to end up at the bottom of the really good tier, but Akuma is good because of the Genjutsu. It has the Susanoo, and overall, Akuma is a really good KG to have. It's probably one of the best, more common KGs in the game to actually have. So if you get this, do not spin it unless you have a better one. Next up to be Jokai. This one's going to be going into good. Now, the Jokai is literally just Golden Jokai, but a lot less damage, and it just so happens that a lot less damage on an ability makes something good instead of, you know, broken, which is probably what Jokai is going to be going into. But Jokai overall has the iframes. It's overall a decent KG to have, but with Golden Jokai in the game, there's literally almost no reason to ever use this, but you might be stuck with it. Golden Jokai is obviously be going into broken. As of recent, this is destroying the meta because the meta right now is iframe spam. And with Golden Jokai, you have an iframe that can counter other iframes, such as the third ability, and you have another iframe ability, which is the second one. Now, the mode is god-awful, but the three abilities of it are overall so good to the point that it carries it, even though the mode's bad. Astral Storm's going to be going into almost broken. The M1 stun, the abilities are now actually pretty good to use. The third ability did have its end lag reduced completely, and Astral Storm overall is a really good KG to use, and it is almost broken in my personal perspective. If they made a third ability do a tiny bit more damage, it would definitely be broken. Azarashi is actually going into the good place above Jokai ever since they nerfed the Azarashi M1 combos because it does not stack with C-specs anymore. Ever since they nerfed that, it overall dropped in tiers because the main reason of using Azarashi was for those combos. But you can still use the abilities in Azarashi, and they overall are good abilities to use. Azim Senko is actually going into really good at the bottom for now, because the Zim Senko counter literally carries the Zim Senko. The abilities of her are still bad. They do not do enough damage compared to any other KG in the game that is damage oriented. Overall, Zim Senko, the main thing that carries it are the mode of it and the first ability. Bankai is still going to be at the top of broken. Even with the Bankai nerf, Bankai is still probably one of the best KGs in the game because the nerf barely impacted it. The nerf was pretty much just a mode reduce on Bankai, and the third ability hits only 2 people instead of 3, which is literally barely a nerf. It literally makes no difference whatsoever in the long run. Black Shock, in my opinion, is just going to be going to good. Probably it's going to be at the bottom of good for now. Black Shock overall, it's not very useful in most situations, but you can combo with it, and just because you can combo with it, I'll put it in good for that. Bolt is just going to be going into meh. Bolt overall, you can use it. It is very, very usable, but overall, Bolt, in my personal opinion, Bolt just cannot. It doesn't compare to almost any other KG in the game, which is why it's going to be meh. Bubble's obviously going to be going to the bottom of broken. Bubble overall is a very good KG. It can be insane in combos. You can nearly one-shot people by using Bubble in a combo overall, and Bubble is also a very spammy bloodline. Clay is going to be going to the bottom really good. It does have iframes. It does have the Z-spec, which barely drains any mode. And you have, I'm pretty sure it's almost infinite flight with the Z-spec. And overall, Clay is just a very good KG compared to what it was a few months ago. Crystal's actually be going to the bottom of good. In my opinion, Crystal, the first ability, really carries Crystal, and it is overall really insane in combos. Dongan, ever since the actual buffs, is actually going to the bottom really good. Dongan with the counter buff actually makes the counter a lot better and a lot more usable overall. And the other abilities are also very good. C-Spec can be worked on, but other than that, it's a very good KG. Now, Diva Senko and Diva Ren Goku. Diva Sengoku and Diva Ren Goku are actually going into broken. I'm going to be putting them probably below Golden Jokai and above Bubble. Now, the Rabu is actually going into almost broken. I'm going to be putting it probably below Dio Senko and above Kenichi. First ability, extremely good. It's a really good iframe. Second ability, one of the best block breakers in the game behind Mecha Spirit. Third ability is a Clone ability that was actually removed from the counter and auto dodge global cooldown, so now you can use it. Fun fact, C-Spec is also an extremely good stun, and the weapon spec of the mode is also an extremely good stun. Okami's actually be going into meh. After the rework, it is worse. There's not much else to say about it. The rework actually kind of killed the KG overall. The main reason to use Okami was actually the first ability did so much damage, and they completely changed it. They also made it so the other abilities don't do as much damage anymore, and overall, it's just not as good as the KG as it was before, but it is better to use, but not better to use as in like damage-wise. Paper's actually be going into really good. I'm going to be putting it below Kaijin, above Clay. Paper, one of the highest DPS outputs in the entire game, simply because Paper just does so much damage. It is unreal. The second ability had its Ragdoll stun removed, but the third ability had a damage buff. First ability had a damage buff, and it has less chi. The Z-Spec now is an instant cast ability, no hand signs. and overall it's extremely good to use. You also can fly with it. Atomic's actually be going into meh at the top of meh. Atomic, actually, I'll put it into good. I'll put it to the bottom of good. Atomic overall, because the main ability of Atomic and combos got nerfed, Atomic overall as a KG is just not as good as it used to be. Pikaseco is actually be going into really good. I'm going to be putting it probably above Nectar and below Ink. The reason for this is because it's extremely good for running. But other than running, there's really no reason to ever use Pikaseco. But the first ability, fun fact, was removed from the auto dodge global cooldown, so feel free to use that. Vine is actually be going into almost broken. I'm going to be putting it above Dioseco, below Forge. Second ability, one of the most annoying abilities in the game, and Vine Clones is also now extremely good to use. Other than that, the first ability you can use for combos and things like that, but it does half your damage. The C-Spec is the same exact thing, but you can't hide under the ground. Ryan Akuma is actually going into the bottom of almost broken. This is going to sound insane to you guys, to a lot of you guys, but Ryan Akuma is actually good. Third ability, block breaks. The other two abilities are good abilities to use overall. The C-Spec is probably the worst one of them, but the abilities of Ryan Akuma are actually very, very good, and it makes it almost broken in my personal perspective. Now, we also got Red Goku here. I'm going to be putting this at the top of really good. From my opinion, Red Goku is a really good KG now. The first ability is now a block break. Actually, it's going to be going to probably the top of almost broken. Now that I think about it, the second ability being removed from the stun global cooldown makes it so Red Goku is now one of the best combo KGs in the game, and you can set up so many one-shots because of it. I don't understand why it was removed from the stun global cooldown. They should revert that. From my personal opinion, they need to revert that change because right now Red Goku is dominating. I completely forgot about that. Now we have Red Shiki here. Red Shiki has some of the best iframes in the game and also did get a skin recently, but I am going to be putting it to the bottom of almost broken. The first ability is one of the best iframes in the game. It gives you chi back when the people attack you. Third ability is a block break. It is faster than it used to be as well. It also had a damage buff. Second ability is now less chi cost, I'm pretty sure, but it still is on the stun global cooldown for some reason. Actually, because of the weapon spec getting buffed, I'll move it to right here. The weapon spec actually did have its stun time increase for some reason. Raikishis is going to be going to the bottom of almost broken. This is just because of the one-shot combos that include the C-Spec. Because of the C-Spec alone, it's going to be almost broken. Sabri is going to be going to the top. I'll put it above Cobra, Captain Cobra, and below Mecha Spirit. Sabri overall is extremely good KG to use for 1v1s, but outside of that, it is complete garbage. We got Sand here. Sand's actually going into good. I'm going to be putting it probably above Nature and below Joke. Sand, from my personal opinion, is a very good KG to use for combos because the second ability, the third ability is almost infinite flight, and the first ability is a decent block breaker. It's some of the types it doesn't block break though. Satori is actually be going into almost broken. Below, actually, no, I'll move it above Eternal, below Ashes Storm. Satori got a damage buff in the third ability, and that's about it for Satori. And because of the damage buff, it is an overall better KG now. Scorch, literally just the worst Frostfire. Sage is actually be going into really good. It's mainly a 1v1 KG, but you can use it for team fights sometimes. But because of the 1v1 potential that Station has, it's going to be below Concho and above Inferno. Now we do have Sengoku here. Now Sengoku actually did get buffed, so Sengoku with the buff is going to be below Eternal, above Gold Red Shiki and Red Shiki. Now because of the buff, the second ability is now a very, very good stun to use in combos. But the other three abilities, such as the C-Specs, the first ability and third ability of Sengoku are still bad to use. But because of the second ability buff, it's going to be an almost broken. Now this is going to be Senko. Now Senko is actually a much better KG than I thought. Senko's actually be going below Zim Senko and above Iron Sand. Senko is one of the best common KGs used in this game. Now, I'm actually going to be putting Akuma below a Zim Senko. These are very, very comparable. I think Senko's a little bit better than Akuma. Senko has a lot of teleports, block breaks. It has the Dio Senko time stop, but a little bit smaller AoE. And overall, Senko's a very good KG to use because it is equipable to your element slots. Shadow is actually going to be going to the bottom of good. It's mainly for combos, but even then, it's just not a very good combo KG anymore after the nerfs. Shiver Akuma is actually be going into broken. I'm going to be putting it above Bubble and below Inferno Karashi and Ghost Karashi. Shiver Akuma, so annoying to fight, and overall is actually extremely broken because it has so many iframes with the C-Spec and the other abilities of Shiver Akuma. It just is so broken. Shizen is literally just the worst Raika Shizen, so I'm going to be putting it I'll probably put it above Senko, above Akuma, below Zim Senko. Shizen overall is a very good KG to use if you do not have Raika Shizen. Now we also have Sound here. Sound's actually going to the bottom really good. It did have damage buffs recently, and Sound is overall a really good KG to use now for combos. Now we have Steam here. Steam is actually going to the bottom of Meh. Steam literally has a fog dissolution with hand signs. It has a dash that's just a worse Inferno ability now, and the other ability Steam is just a bubble breath. Now we have Storm here. Storm's actually be going to the bottom of really good because of the C-Spec. The C-Spec does a lot of damage. The other abilities of Storm overall are not good for anything, pretty much. Tengoku's actually be going into really good. I'm going to be putting it below Naramaki and above Midakami. Tengoku Beam got a range reduce. I don't know when they did this, but it does not go nearly as far as it used to for some reason. Tengoku Beam has such a less range than it used to, and because of the less range, I'm going to be putting it into really good at the top instead of almost broken or broken. Also, the C-Spec is the block break now. The third ability is the beam. The second ability is the balls. It no longer is on the stun global cooldown, so it is very good overall. First ability is a good stun, but most of the times you will not land this. Then we got Typhoon here. Typhoon's actually be going to the top of almost broken. It did get a nerf on the first ability, and because of that nerf, it's not going to be unbroken anymore. But if it did not get nerfed, it would be at the top of broken, hands down. But the first ability now does not drag people from nearly as far as it used to, and the third ability was put on the auto dodge global cooldown, and because of those changes, it's going to be at the top of almost broken instead of broken. Next up is going to be Variety Mud. Variety Mud's actually be going into really good. I'm going to be putting it below Shizen, above Senko. Variety Mud's second, one of the longest stuns in the game, but it can be blocked and you can dash backwards to completely avoid it. Third ability has a completely nasty hitbox that will pretty much hit anything as long as you're even somewhat near them. And the first ability is the clone ability. That is okay overall. Exino Doke is going to be going into broken above Inferno and Ghost Karashi, but below Diva Sengoku and Diva Rengoku. Now the reason for this is because Exino Doke second ability is one of the best abilities in the game. Third ability is a zero hand sign Genjutsu ability. It overall is extremely good. And the first ability of Exino Doke is an extremely good silence, I guess. And the C-Spec is a good block break, but the range on it overall just isn't very good. Weapon spec is okay at most. Next up would be Glacier. Glacier's literally just a team fight KG. I'm actually going to be putting it to the top of Met. It has insane team fight potential, but other than that, you cannot use it in 1v1s. Riser Kuma, actually with the nerfs, is going to be going into almost broken, below Red Goku and above Light Joke and above Dark Joke. Now, because of these nerfs, Riser is actually significantly worse than it used to be, but it still is almost broken. It had a massive damage nerf on the third ability, and also the C-Spec did get the mode drain reduced, and it hurts the KG a lot more than Bankai, because Bankai has a weapon spec that does the same exact thing. Riser does not. So overall, Riser's just a much worse KG than it was before the nerfs. Now, Tsunami is going to be going into broken. I'm going to be putting it above Diva Senko, Diva Rengoku. Such high DPS output, one of the highest DPS outputs in the game, and overall it's extremely spammy as well. It's literally Typhoon 2.0. Smoke is another new one. I'm going to be putting it to the top of really good. It has one of the best movement abilities in the game. It has a really good counter that's equipable to element slots, and also has another ability that's a pretty good AoE damage ability. But other than that, it's just going to be at the top of really good because of that. Now we got Blood here. Blood's going to be going to the bottom of broken. This is simply because of the combo potential that Blood has. Blood is one of the highest combo potential EKGs in the entire game, and you guys will see when I post Blood combos just how broken this KG is. Now Shindai, I know this one's going to trigger a lot of people, but Shindai after the nerfs, I feel like Shindai isn't as good as it used to be, but it isn't bad either. The first ability was removed from the auto dodge cooldown, which makes it a lot more usable and a lot more kits, because it does do the same damage output, but it no longer that counter being removed from the first ability in the C-Spec significantly impacted Shindai in the way that you use it. And because of that, because it was moved to the third ability, I'm actually going to be putting it in broken, but I'll be putting it above Shiver Kuma, above below Inferno Karashi and Ghost Karashi. I feel like this is the true place of Shindai now, and if you disagree with me, feel free to comment in the comments below why. Now Ryan Red Goku, Ryan Sengoku, I actually was very harsh on it, and I feel like this kid, I'll be putting it to almost broken. I'm gonna be putting it probably, I'll put it below Forged. How about that? I'll put it below Forged. I know a lot of people think this KG is still good, so I'll move it up on the tier list because of that. But I do not think this KG is as nearly as good as it used to be. But I'll be putting it almost broken, just because I believe that the iframes on the second ability are still very, very useful, and the Z-Spec is also still very, very useful. Anyways, guys, that's gonna actually be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more. Hope to see you next one, guys. Bye bye.